Hello guys, it's me, Greed here. I've been thinking, Overwatch over the last couple of years, definitely, but maybe even longer, has become a bit more of an anti-social game. And that's not to say that Overwatch has become more toxic, per se. It's to say that the amount of communication in general is basically zero. There's none of either. There's really no one being toxic and screaming and shouting, and there's no one being nice or whatever. There's neither of either, and that's for a couple of reasons. It's because of the reporting system, and it's also because of the lack of social features in the game. And I was watching another video, an Overwatch 1 video, where it brought back a lot of memories of being able to queue in any rank, at any time, during Overwatch 1, and you would likely have people that were talking, even if they were being like toxic and flaming, which, to be fair, I personally didn't mind at all. I actually quite enjoy it. I think it's funny when people are like screaming and shouting at each other and are mad at each other. I'm actually completely fine with that. But at least it happened, right? There were people in the voice chat and they were saying words, even if the words were things that people didn't like. You can mute and block people, but at least people were present and you could talk to them. There was a level of sociableness to it, regardless of the fact that the sociable factor of it was relatively toxic in some circumstances, though usually it was pretty much fine. But at least people spoke. Today, you're lucky to get a game, even in high elo, like top 500, GM top 500. The only time that literally anyone ever speaks to anyone in high elo is when two streamers or two friends recognize each other, and they're like, "Hey man," and they're like, "Hey," and that's it for the rest of the game. That's all the comms you're gonna get for that game, in the majority of cases. The most populated rank in terms of comms is probably Diamond, and even then, 1 in 15 games will have a single person that speaks. Even if you go in the VC and try and talk to people, people don't care. They do not speak. Because if you say fuck, you're banned. You say shit, you're banned. You call someone a noob, they're banned. You ask someone to swap hero, you're banned. And people are going to say, oh, that's hyperbolic. That's not what happens. Trust me, I've been suspended a lot of times. I've been suspended rightfully, where I've been talking way too much shit, and I got banned, and it was absolutely justified. And there's been times where I've basically said absolutely nothing and been banned. So I just don't speak anymore. It's a waste of time. There's no point to speak anyway in this game. Comms are infinitely less important in Overwatch 2 than they are in Overwatch 1, simply just due to the fact that the game is way easier. There's no need to be calming things anymore. Like, give me bubble and engage. Don't need to do that anymore. Everyone's health bar is so fucking fat, you're probably fine. There's no more ult combos really much anyway, because most of the ult combos were tank synergy ult combos, and they don't exist anyway. Plus a lot of tank synergy combos don't really work anymore, or aren't really effective. Like, Grav Dragon is useless, Grav with Molten Core is useless, Flux and Deadeye, not that bad, but still really just not that good. We use Suzu and Emo and all these things in Life Grip to deal with it. It's just not really all that useful to try and work together as a team anymore. So there's that, and there's also the fact that there's a large lack of social features. Find a Group is gone. I believe they said it's gone because people were boosting and deranking on it. Who gives a fuck? People are just doing that in Discord now instead. It's probably more popular now than it is then, because at least you could report people that were doing it in there. You could report like their title, and they would get banned for doing it. Can't do that on Discord. There's no way to know if they're doing it on Discord. So there's that. You're punishing people less, and they're doing it more because it's less punishable, obviously. So more people are doing it. But also, it punishes all the people that liked Find a Group. I used Find a Group all the time. Go back to my old original Overwatch 1 videos. Basically, every Overwatch 1 video I did was me trolling in Find a Group, having fun in Find a Group, talking to people in Find a Group, carrying in Find a Group. But it was so good. It was so much fun to play in that thing, and it was very sociable. Someone you didn't like, you kicked them from your group. That's just how it was. It was fine. 99% of the time, you were getting a good team of people that were talking, and most people loved it. Now, obviously, it became like a stacking epidemic where like the entire game just revolved around getting a 6-stack and stuff, which was kind of fucked because the over-reliance on 6-stacking kind of boosted people a bit, but it wasn't exactly so bad to the point where you should have got rid of it, to be honest. Another thing, the cards at the end of the game. People don't talk about this because the devs came out and said, yeah, basically no one sits and looks at the cards anymore, so we're just getting rid of them. But think of it today. When you play a game of Overwatch and the game ends, it's game ends, victory screen or defeat screen for like 5 seconds, cut to play the game done, lobby disbanded. That's it. It's like 20 seconds after the game that you actually like to talk to people. But before, with the card system, you play a game, victory, all the shit would pop up, you get play the game, and then boom, card system up. And for anyone that did want to sit at the end of the game and say, you know, oh man, you wanna queue a game, or like think back to the old Super TF stuff where people would wait until the card system to pop up and they try and talk to him, and then they would like make fun of him or something. Even that, like, stuff like that was just funny. It was more sociable. It made people talk more because there was a bit more opportunity for people to talk. Like, you just played a game, the game is done, but everyone is still in the lobby, so you can talk to everyone in the lobby. There's no like game ongoing, so you can actually sit and type out what you want to type out and stuff like that. And it was just a better experience overall. It incentivized people to talk to each other because there were moments where you could talk to each other and you were not punished for it by, say, having to go AFK mid-game if you wanted to talk to people. So people don't talk to people anymore for a lot of reasons. Firstly, they're scared of getting banned if they do talk to people, which is just downright fucking insane that that's a concern right now. Scared of getting banned for talking to people. Not only are they scared of getting banned for talking to people, there's also an unbelievable lack of social features that just don't incentivize people to talk to each other anyway. And I think that's pretty problematic. I mean, people have been talking about this for the entirety of Overwatch 2, that people just are not speaking to each other, there's no comms going on, and obviously that's for a lot of reasons that I brought up, but it's also just the kind of the environment around Overwatch has changed over time. It used to be a hyper-competitive game where you were expected to speak all the time, and you were expected to comm, and you were expected to give info, because it was a hyper-competitive game that was finely balanced, and it was built around competing and things like that, so people were more incentivized to comm because they were more part of that competitive crowd. The game started to cater to a casual audience, and then people stopped fucking calming. There's no more ranked, there's no more competitive integrity, there's no more people taking it seriously, there's no more calming, there's no more any of that. It doesn't exist anymore because the game isn't built for competitive players. I see this constantly on the forums. People are talking about they ruined this game by balancing it for the pro players. They ruined this game by balancing it for the 1%. They ruined this game by balancing for the competitive players. They talk about it all the time on the forums. It's constant. It's fucking rife. It's all they talk about on the forums now. And people don't realize how untrue that is. The game is not balanced for the 1% or the pro players. I can say with absolute certainty, I'm almost certain the devs have come out and said that they do not balance around pro player, the top 1%. I mean, just think about it. Widowmaker has been one of the best heroes in the game, if not hard meta, for 8 fucking years in GM. Like, obviously they're not balancing around Grandmaster or Pro Play, because if they did, they would have deleted Widow a long fucking time ago. They would have changed Sojourn a long time ago, but they didn't. She's still the way she is. She's still absolutely disgustingly strong in high elo and fucking useless in low rank. Why is that? If they're balancing around pro play, why did they buff Sojourn to 120 rail? Why? It has nothing to do with the pro players or the GM players. They were doing just fine on Sojourn. They were doing absolutely fine on the hero. The hero was actually pretty good in GM. But they buffed them because the fucking gold player can't hit a shot. So when they do eventually hit a shot, they want it to be impactful for the lower ranked player, which absolutely fucking ruined the game for everyone above plat. If you were plat or up with that Sojourn buff, they fucked the game. Absolutely fucked the game. And I know most of you will agree. And instead of just reverting the buff that they did, because that would make way too much sense, they nerfed some other parts of her kit. So now she feels like shit to play, because she feels clunky as fuck, because the way she gets energy is different now. But she still has 120 rails, so she's still really good. So they made a character that's really, really good, really, really strong, but really, really sucks to play as, because they feel like shit to play. How is that balancing for the GM player? How is that balancing for the 1%? It's fucking brain dead. It's that these gold players don't realize that the game is balanced for them specifically, for the gold player, for the average player, and yet They hate the balance they get because they don't know what they want. It's the same thing every time. It happened in Overwatch 1 too. There was massive amounts of buffs to heroes that didn't make any fucking sense to balance or change at the time, and they fucked the game. The only time I know for a fact they were balancing around GM/pro play is during GOAT's meta when they buffed Orisa and Reaper. That was the only time they were balancing around high level play because that's where GOAT's was getting played. So yes, in that moment, absolutely they balanced for a professional team, but that's one instance in 8 years. That's not very concrete. You know what I mean? That's not balancing for pro players. That's balancing for gold players. Go back in the history of Overwatch. Why do you think it took years to fix Brig? Because they were trying to make her viable in gold. Why do you think it took years to fix Widow and she's still broken? Because they're trying to make her viable in gold. They're trying to make it so the console gold player, or just the PC gold player, the gold player in general, is able to pick Widow and play her and have fun with her and engage with the game and stay on the game. The entire purpose of this game is not about the casual player. It's not about the competitive player. It's not about any of that. It's about the engagement of the player base. If someone wants to play Widowmaker, it's better to leave them overpowered because the dedicated hardcore player base is going to stay no matter what happens, like I have, but the new player or the casual player is more likely to leave. So they let the disgustingly overpowered heroes remain overpowered if they're selling skins. That's why Kiriko sells a shitload of skins. Look at that. She's disgustingly OP. Then the Kiriko player's going to come in. Oh, well, actually, her win rate is low. I have a whole video that goes over why win rate and pick rate mean absolutely nothing. You can go and watch that before you try and tell me that your fucking argument that's definitely going to be wrong. But that's just, it is what it is. That's the game. There's no more social features anymore. You're not incentivized to talk to each other anymore. The game's become completely antisocial. The competitive aspect of the game is missing, which is another thing that leads credence to the fact there's no fucking social aspect of the game. The game is just in a horrible state right now, and I really hope it gets better. I'm at the point where I don't even rant about the game anymore. Why do you think I upload so little? I'm not playing the game. I play one game a week, and that's only because my girlfriend wants to play. That's not even because I want to play. And when I am playing, I fucking hate it. I don't enjoy myself at all. I don't play this fucking game. The footage you're watching is from when the 6v6 test came out. It's old as fuck. I don't play it. But I want to. There were days in Overwatch 1 where I could play for 11, 12, 13 hours, have like 30-minute break to eat food or whatever between, and by the end of the day when I got off, I wanted to get back on again. I fucking loved that game. I could never get tired of it. And when Overwatch Classic came back, I fell in love with that too. I played 100 hours of it in 2 weeks. I loved it. But yet, people will call it burnout, and they'll say, you're just tired of the game, you've been playing it for too much, you've got like 12,000 hours, of course you don't like the game anymore. But why is it that Overwatch 1, I can play it endlessly, no matter what, even during Graveyard Patch, game is fun. Then, all of a sudden, Overwatch 2, game is boring as fuck. Overwatch Classic, I fall in love with the game again, Classic leaves, game sucks again. Don't call that burnout. That's not fucking burnout. That's the game being bad. Anyway, I love all of you. I hope you have a good day. I'm gonna go play DayZ and tell my girlfriend that she's a piece of cheese. Goodbye. Mwah. Have a good day. Goodbye.